You are listening to the Jboy Show, your number one source for Auburn and the SEC.
My goal was to run through his soul and grab his heart when I run through his soul.
Kurt, Nate, Coach Dab. Those are memories.
I think we've established ourselves as, I think, the premier conference in college football.
Now, the SEC is better at the top. It's better in the middle.
The Southeastern Conference remains the premier conference.
Now takes the snap. Looking for the receiver. He's got Lutz and Kirkland. Touchdown, Auburn!
Think about it. It's always been the SEC and everybody else trying to catch it.
I think this is probably the best league from a competitive venue standpoint.
The most capable teams. You just look at those programs, the way they recruit, how they invest.
Snap to Burrow. 3 steps. Fires. Back corner of the end zone. Over the shoulder catch. Did he hold on? He did. Justin Jefferson. Touchdown, Tiger.
And now, your host, Jboy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another special edition of the Jboy Show. Your favorite SEC, national, college sports, professional sports, whatever. We get everybody, and we're super excited to be joined by one of the infamous, in a good way, Gronkowski brothers, and that is Chris Gronkowski. Chris, what is up, dude?
Yo, what's going on, man? You got the most jack Gronkowski brother on the podcast, so...
Without a doubt.
Watch out for these guns.
Yeah, dude, exactly. Like I'm having to stand back from the mic just in case there's some time warp hole or something that can extend your guns through there and hit me in the face. So I'm sure Rob would challenge you on the jacked part, though.
Man, he knows.
He knows what's up.
He says it himself at this point, but I was also the shortest in the family, so it's a little bit easier to be the most jacked when you're the shortest.
Exactly.
So I'll give that to them.
That's true.
They got about 4. Rob's probably got 4.5 inches on me, so.
Man,
he's a beast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, leverage counts for a lot. And as a guy that, dude, I mean, you played at Maryland, transferred to Arizona. I mean, you played linebacker, you caught passes. You know, you're almost like the most useful pawn in a chess game. And, you know, all you Gronkowskis are tough. Can you kind of talk about, now, when you went to Arizona, was that because Rob was there? Can you kind of talk about that transition in your career?
Yeah, man. So I was at Maryland, and it was kind of weird because I got offered at the last minute a scholarship there. I was actually going Ivy League. I was going to Penn, the University of Penn, and got accepted into Wharton Business School. And I was like, man, Ivy League looks pretty good, right? Except when you have to pay the bills. So I would have left there with probably about $200,000 in debt if I took that route. So I was excited to get in. Not many people get into Wharton, so it's super impressive achievement for me. And I turned it down for a last minute scholarship to Maryland, but it almost felt like, they never really wanted me there. For the most part, they offered it to me because they lost a bunch of guys to grades who were about to go on academic probation. And they brought me in and said, hey, we'll give you the scholarship because your brother's here, your older brother Dan's here, but you better get a 4.0 because we need these grades. Mm-hmm. So I almost got a scholarship for being a good student for the most part. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, that's what's up. So I tell kids that all the time. Make sure, your grades are good as well. It's not just all talent. But it was a situation where we walked into my dad did actually. Rob and my dad were on a visit, and during spring ball, they went in the room and they were like, "Hey, man, your head coach is like, hey, your brother Dan's killing it for us, but I don't think your brother Chris is ever going to play for us." And me and Rob were boys, man, and he's like, "What the hell does that mean?" And it really came down to the fact that I missed one practice because I got hurt. I couldn't even walk, but I was trying to push through it, and I was the only goal line fullback. I guess second fullback on the roster, and we couldn't do goal line because of me. And so he got pissed, took me off everything, every special teams, all that, and told me I'd never play for him.
Oh, my God.
So Rob and my dad walk in this meeting, and they're like, well, shit, if Chris ain't playing for him, neither am I. And Rob was out. So we kind of put this game plan together that, if one of the schools would bring both of us in, which wasn't too hard because Rob was the number one recruit of the nation at the time. But, if they brought me in and would keep me on scholarship, I would come. As well. And I was going to leave first. I left first. I went to Arizona, and they also gave me this opportunity to play baseball because I had to sit out a year. So it was pretty cool because it's a pretty good baseball player, but I hadn't played in 2 years. So I kind of wanted to see if I still had it. So I went out, they pretty much let me on the team. I played for a year. They were the number one team in the nation at the time. And I rode the bench the whole time. And after that year, I said, I'm not playing baseball anymore. I went right back to football. Yeah. that's how I ended up at Arizona.
That's a cool story. I appreciate you sharing that with us, Chris. And let me ask you this, man, because it's something like I was telling you in the pre-show, I got a brother, you know what I'm saying? When we grew up, you know, we'd brawl sometimes and you both get big enough, it kind of becomes a problem. And I'm sitting here looking at, I mean, you, Dan, and Rob, you know, as like 15 and 16-year-olds. I know y'all weren't little. I mean, did they used to have to call like the SWAT team when it was about to go down? I know you got some good. Have you ever beaten Rob up, honestly?
Yeah, so Rob was 2 years younger than me, so I was always bigger than him.
Yeah.
And, I was always like the fat kid too.
Okay.
So they made fun of me my whole life for being, you know, the fat kid in the family. At one point, like my nipples went in. And all they would do is talk about how fat I was and all that. And I now contribute having abs to the fact that they made fun of me every day because I used to go in the basement every day and do abs. Dude, I'm like, I'm not going to be the fat kid anymore.
Embarrassment is a real thing. It's the number one motivator. That's what we used to joke, man. I had guys that would play for me that they'd screw up in a big game and they weren't as much pissed off that they screwed up, but they got to watch it tomorrow on film with all their friends and know they're going to catch an unbelievable amount of hell about it.
Hell yeah, man. And that's actually the number one motivator for playing with your family members too.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same way. And I tell people that all the time, like, you know, having my brother on my team was the greatest motivating factor ever because, like you said, you know, you're going to ball out and then you're going to go in the film room and you're going to brag to your brother, right? And be like, hey, check out this next play that's coming up. But at the same time, you know when you got lit up and you did something, you know, something bad and you know it's coming.
Yeah.
You know that your brother's just going to tear you apart.
You start looking around. You start looking around right before it happens.
Like, I got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
Walk out for that play.
Like, hey, guys, it's a unicorn.
Oh, man, don't watch that one.
Yeah, please, guys. No, that's hilarious. It's a real thing, though. It's a real thing.
Oh, for sure, man. I wish I played with you know, one of my brothers at the pro level because it always pushes us to the next level. And it wasn't just on the field. You know, it was also in the weight room for sure. Everything. I mean, I had to beat him in every lift. You know, I had to beat him in every speed drill. I had to beat him in every, you know, long distance endurance drill. I mean, every single day we went hard and we tried to beat each other. And, you know, in your head, you're saying, hey, you know, he's born in the same place, same parents, same everything. Why can I not be better or as good as him? Or, you know, I'm going to beat him in everything because I'm his older brother. So it pushed us so hard every single day. And I think that's what really elevated all five of us to that next level.
Yeah, exactly. And it's something where, you know, I attribute it. My brother talked about me being the oldest and you kind of being in the same boat. You know, you really make those guys what they are. I remember growing up. I mean, me and my brother would just throw the ball in the front yard or go around and hit the ball or hit stuff against stuff. And you don't really realize what that does to you until, you know, 6-7 years down the road. And you've put in more work than anybody without realizing it just because you wanted to have fun with your brother. Yeah,
man. And we used to beat the hell out of Rob, too. And I think that really, it really toughened him up, all of us, really. But, you know, he was the only one that was crazy enough to jump over just his older brother and go to 2 over. So, like, you know, I would go after Dan because he was 2 years older than me. Rob would come after me, but Rob was crazy enough to go after Dan.
I can see that, bro.
Insane, man. Because Dan was a beast, man. Dan was 6'5", 235 in high school. He was just an animal. And Rob would still try to go after him, and he would just get crushed by Dan. But he'd keep coming back, man. And we used to just pin him down and just nonstop Charlie horses all day. He kind of just liked it after a while.
Yeah, it builds character. You know, when you start getting getting mopped up a little bit in one of those games, it's kind of like you hit the memory button back to when he was trying to tackle Dan. But would you say, Chris, out of all the brothers, that Rob is the most extroverted?
Yeah, man, for sure. Man, he's I don't know where he gets it from, but just witty, funny, and definitely outgoing, and he's just always been himself, is what it comes down to. He's kind of always a jokester growing up. He was the one that was kind of getting in trouble. He'd always push things to the limit to kind of, you know, try to get under people's skin, but he would never do anything that would like truly, you know, get him in trouble. And that's kind of how his personality's always been. And he's all about just having fun and living, you know, the same life he was before he was famous, before he was well known. And that was kind of his thing. He's like, hey, I'm going to go into the NFL and I'm going to be the same person I've always been. And he stayed true to his character.
Exactly. And you can tell, I mean, it shows. I mean, he's always being himself, and it looks like he has an unbelievable amount of fun on the field. Like, I'm sure all of y'all, you know what I'm saying, share that. But really, last question about Rob, because I brought you on here to talk about you. You know, it's all this stuff with him going to Tampa Bay and everything like that. How many people were hitting you up before he made his decision? Like, dog, just tell me, please.
Dude, nobody knew, man. I was on TMZ a month before.
Wow.
And they said, hey, what would you say if Rob came back? I would say, man, I would be shocked. And I just didn't think it was coming. There's a lot of things that had to line up. And, man, he was still with New England at the time. And, they would have to wanted to trade him. He would have to want to come back. He'd have to be healthy. There's just so many things that I was like, there's no way. And plus, man, he's killing it off the field. So I'm like, why would he? I don't even think he necessarily wants to go back. But, if that passion's still there, if that fire's still burning, I think you always have that what if.
Yeah.
And I think that he knew that he would live with that the rest of his life because, man, he left the game. He was still at the very top of his game.
Yeah.
I mean, he was banged up. He was hurting, so he wasn't 100%, especially his last season. But at the end of the day, once he got healthy, he knew that he was still – he knows he still has that talent. He still knew in the back of his mind that he had a lot left. He was still at the top. He was still in his prime. So to walk away knowing that, you kind of always have that what if. And, man, if there's a what if, in the back of your head, I think you have to just go and do it.
Yeah.
Or else you're going to live with that the rest of your life.
Exactly. That's a great point, Chris. And now, Chris, I want to shift the focus to you, man, because you got some big stuff going on. I mean, obviously, you played a very high level of college, athletics. You played in the NFL for a little bit with a couple different teams. And now you've got a podcast that's just taken off, man. Can you kind of tell everybody, all our listeners, because they're unbelievable absorbers of information, that they love being knowledgeable about everything. Can you kind of tell them about what you're doing, man? Because it's exciting.
Yeah, man, it's been a cool trip for me. Leaving the NFL is not always easy. I was first of all, I was lucky enough to even play there. I never thought I would because I wasn't even the second best in my own family. And man, if I'm not even good enough to beat my brothers, how am I going to make it to the top level?
Yeah, you got some talented brothers, though. You got some talent as well as you are.
So I was able to, get pension, get all that. I got 4 credited seasons. So amazing start for me that I never thought I'd have. And I just put it into business. I started my first business. Actually, my wife's idea. She started it because I went to 4 teams in 4 years. And she was like, I am not finding another job. I'm going to find a way to work from home. And she did. And she started personalizing wine glasses. It turned into this big personalized, online gift shop is what it is now, called everythingdecorated.com. So I still work with her on that. Did that for about 5 years. Made more money my first year outside of football than I did playing in the NFL.
Wow.
With her business. So I was like, man.
Mrs. Gronk coming through in the clutch.
And from there, about 5 years into it, I had an idea for my own product called the Eye Shaker. And it was really all about, just living an active, healthy lifestyle and finding one bottle that I could use all day, every day, instead of switching out bottles. So it's at the gym. My plastic shaker bottle was sweating. It smelled terrible. And I said, man, why don't I just make something that will keep it cold? It won't absorb the odor. I can mix powders. I can easily clean it, but I could also bring it, to work. I could bring it at home and use it in the pool. I could bring it on the airplane. And that's where the Eye Shaker idea came from.
Genius.
Was able to get on Shark Tank, get offers from all 5 sharks, close the deal with Mark Cuban, Alex Rodriguez, and it just took off from there, man. So pretty cool. And with that and everything that we have going on, I have a lot of, I like to provide other people with knowledge and value. And through social media, I was just getting asked a lot of questions about, how do you start your own business? How do you do email marketing? How do you do Facebook ads? All the stuff that comes with the business and entrepreneurship. But I was also getting hit up about, what's your nutrition plan? What are your workouts? That whole aspect as well. And then also about sports. How do I train my kids? What year did you start working out? How'd you work out? All that stuff. And decided to make my own podcast to just go really into depth about these topics. And our first couple are just my story. They'll break down everything you could think about from a business. And then we started bringing on amazing guests that have a lot of expert knowledge in certain areas. Our last guest on Monday, we were talking about angel investing. And his first investment as an actual entrepreneur was from Mark Cuban. So it was pretty cool that he was then successful, sold his business for $30 million. And now he's an angel investor that invests in other companies. So we'd love to just bring on people that bring knowledge to anyone that wants to listen and learn more.
Yeah. And what's the name of that, Chris, so everybody can go check it out?
So it's Gronked Up.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere, man. Anywhere you listen to a podcast, we're going to be on there.
Definitely. Gronked Up, man. I've checked out a few, man. They're awesome. You guys do a great job. And again, you're giving out great information too. It's not just, a great story. You're actually giving out things that are helping people. But you brought up Shark Tank, man. And that show to me is just, I think it's crazy. I love it. So you've played in big games, a lot of big games in front of a lot of big people. Were you a little nervous before you went out in front of the Sharks? Was that kind of a different feeling than you're about to run out of the tunnel? And were you kind of trying to use it as the same thing, if that makes sense?
Man, so no, definitely different feeling. And what's cool about it was that, I was in those positions before where, the pressure was on. So, and what I knew from that was that if you're prepared, you're really not that nervous. You're ready for it.
Yeah.
And that's how it was with Shark Tank, man. I went back and I was lucky that I was on season 9. So I got to watch 8 seasons before me.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to write down every single question. I got to see how people answered it. I saw people get roasted. I saw people they fell in love with. And I said, man, this is the playbook.
Dude, you studied film on Shark Tank, dog. You went into the film room on Shark Tank. That's awesome. By the time
I walked out there, it was game on. I felt like I knew them already. And then the best part was, I had my 4 brothers in the back room that all ran out and gave me a huge ass chest bump.
That's so awesome, dude.
Once that happens, man, you're just chilling. And it just changed the complete atmosphere of the room. And then we played Flip Cup against them and whooped them. And,
I love it.
Earned their respect after we crushed them on Flip Cup.
So wait a minute. You went
after that.
Who did you play in Flip Cup? Was it you and Rob versus, or was it just you and your brothers?
No, so we went all 5 of us versus all 5 of them.
Oh, you played. So wait a minute, Chris. You play. You go on Shark Tank, and you get the deal with Mark Cuban, and you said A-Rod, right?
Yep.
Which is sick in itself. But then you take it to the next level. You say, hey guys, let's take this back to the crib. There's a showdown coming, and you take them to task in Flip Cup. What was it? A beatdown, or was it a close game?
No. So we actually played on air against them before I got the deal. So I challenged them to Flip Cup when my brothers all came out. We're like, hey, let's get up and do this.
I love it.
And the loser had to, they had to drink. They were supposed to drink, a shake that had been sitting out that was all warm and nasty, and they had to drink out of like a plastic shaker bottle. And that never happened. But we whooped them. We actually all flipped in 1, except Rob. He flipped in 2. So we ran the table on them. They were still stuck on Lori. Was it Lori? One of them got stuck and never. It was like the second person on their team couldn't even flip it. So
were they pretty cool? Were they like cool? Like just talking to did you get to talk to them off air?
So no, we didn't really. I mean, just after the show ended, but just for a quick couple minutes. But yeah, absolutely, man. They're all cool, and they got to play a role on the show as well.
Exactly.
So Mr. Wonderful is. I'm sure he's not as bad as he makes himself seem, but that's kind of his role that he plays on the show, and he has to keep it entertaining. So.
Definitely. Well, I mean, that's cool. I'm sure that was a really cool experience. And you got a lot of stuff going on. And I want to, obviously we dabble a lot in the SEC, on this podcast. And I want to kind of, as we bring it to a close here, Chris, talk a little SEC football with you, because I wonder during the recruiting process with, all your brothers, yourself included, Rob included, was there ever a thought about going to the Southeastern Conference, or were you guys pretty much set on where you were going early?
Man, for me, I would have took anything. So, same with my brother Dan, man. I mean, it was tough for him as well. A lot of people wanted him as a quarterback, and he wanted, as a tight end, and he wanted to play quarterback. So for him, Maryland was really the only school that was willing to give him a chance at quarterback. And even them, I think they did it on purpose, and they were going to bring him in as a quarterback and then switch him to tight end.
Exactly.
And that's what they did. So, yeah, I mean, for the most part, Rob was the only one that had a chance. And, he pretty much had offers everywhere. And it really came down to the fact that he wanted me to come with him. So it's hard to get into the SEC when you're bringing your brother with you as well for a ride.
Yeah,
so,
that's exactly right.
So I don't think he really – I think for him it's actually down to, Clemson. They were on board with it as well. But man, it came just as, you go to a couple pool parties at Arizona and your mind changes really quick on where you're going to school.
Yeah, I can. I've heard Arizona. I've heard, and again, there are rumors, but I've heard that Arizona's never lost a party.
So they might lose to each other.
Yeah,
so
look.
Arizona
Then it's a win.
State.
Then it's a win.
Yeah, man. So it's a good time, especially coming from the Northeast where, it's conservative for the most part because it's snowing half the year, and you go down there in the middle of the winter and it's 80 degrees out and I'm walking around with a cutoff shirt on and I'm ready to jump in the pool. It's just a whole new world, man. So we got there and it was just so much fun. And that's how we ended up at Arizona.
Definitely. It is a paradise valley out there. But before I let you go, Chris, I know you're just loaded with hilarious stories. Do you mind dropping one of your funniest, one of the top ones that you can share with our audience and kind of give them a little view into Chris Gronkowski?
Yeah, man. I'll tell. I mean, I know this is probably more football related audience, so I'll tell a good one.
Hell yeah.
From my days with Denver, with Peyton Manning. So Peyton is, man, he really is like he is on TV, like in the TV commercials where you see him. Like, he's funny. He's a funny dude. And he also likes to get his point across at the same time. So a lot of times he's being funny, but, he's kind of getting his point across too. So at the end of games, we go home on away games. We fly home, and all of a sudden we hear someone on the mic, and they'd be like, "Hey, this is your captain speaking." And he'd be like, "No, not the captain of the airplane, the captain of your football team. This is Peyton Manning on the mic." And he would always take the opportunity to kind of just, get his point across, but also be funny at the same time. So, for example, like the one game, our punt return, he took one to the house. So Peyton got on the mic. "Hey, just want to give a shout out, taking a punt to the house. So that's a huge game changer for us. It's also a huge game changer when you fumbled it on the 1 yard line." And just like everyone's dying, exactly. Everyone's going crazy. And man, just so funny. Be like, yeah, that's something that we need to work on. So yeah,
that's hilarious.
Absolutely.
He's
absolutely hilarious, man.
That's great. I appreciate you telling us that. So Peyton, would you say Peyton's one of the funniest guys you played with, or who is the funniest guy, regardless if he's a superstar or not, that you played with in the league?
Man, now there's definitely some good characters in the league for sure. Funniest, man. I thought Von Miller was pretty good.
Yeah,
he's definitely a character. He was always fun to be around. I played with Pat McAfee. I thought he was man. These guys, they're just fun to be around, man. That's more of how I would describe them. The morale of the team would just go up because they were always having a good time, no matter what. They're dancing, they're having fun. They're talking trash, but at the same time, it elevates everybody's game. They're joking around, talking trash, but boom, man, the second you say that to someone, it's game on. And then, it always brings everyone up to another level. So I love playing with guys that just love having fun and love being out there. Yeah, exactly. And it's such a grind, especially the higher levels you go, you get into the NFL, and it's such a business being able to have those guys that can kind of keep it light, when it needs to be light, and turn it on when it needs to be turned on is a big deal. But Chris, man, jacked for you to join us. Got to get you back on here. Gronked Up, go check it out. Make sure you check out everything Chris has got going on, man. I really appreciate you, bro, and I appreciate you sharing some stories, and maybe me and you can grab a cold beverage one of these days. Hey, man, if we're allowed to get on an airplane and go to some games, I'm in. Dude, I'm so in. I mean, we can lock that in right now. The Crane and Gronkowski, the connection is, I think it's unstoppable. Let's do it, man. All right, Chris. Get me out of this house. I know, bro. I'm just walking around the street. People probably think I'm crazy, so I can get outside. But man, I appreciate you, bro. Keep it good. I know you got little kids running around, man, and you got a lot going on. But good luck to you, and we'll talk soon, bro. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. All right, you too. Tell Rob I said what's up. For sure. All right, man. All right, later, bro. And that's Chris Gronkowski, just a great dude. Obviously, one of the Gronkowski brothers, Rob, big time guy with the Patriots, with Tom Brady, now with the Buccaneers, still with Tom Brady. And again, nice to get somebody that can keep it light on here and tell some stories and give another perspective, outside of kind of what we're used to. And once we get closer to the football season, Chris has great football analysis. I mean, he's a guy that grew up around it. Obviously, his family's football centric, like all of ours are. So again, I appreciate you guys checking with us on this Tuesday edition of the Jboy Show. Like I said, man, Chris was a great dude. And remember, you can find us on Twitter at the Jboy Show, on Instagram at the Jboy Show. We're on YouTube, all that stuff. Anywhere you get your podcast, that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere. Remember, you can text Jboy, JBOY, to 90407. That's JBOY to 90407. And you'll get automatic updates on when we're releasing episodes and everything like that. So again, thank you guys for checking us out. We're trying to expand. Tell your friends. If you want to do some advertising on the show, you can email us at jake@thejboyshow.com, and we can get that to you, get the pricing and all that. But always shout out Faison, the Hogwarts graduates in the studio. And as always, the Investor Brand Network, the #1 place for marketing, PR. They represent a ton of companies. They're on the NASDAQ, all that stuff. Check them out. They can really expand your business and grow your reach. So again, thank them. And everybody, this has been another edition of the Jboy Show, and Jboy is going, gone.